Well, hi there, everybody. I'm Jeff Maris from WisPolitics.com. Hope you're having a good summer. And we're here with a special program today. University of Wisconsin System President Tommy Thompson. And I want to thank our generous sponsors for making this and other virtual programs possible. Normally, we'd be at the Madison Club and getting together and shaking some hands and having a good lunch, but given what we're still dealing with here in the pandemic, we're doing it this way. So we want to thank Hush Blackwell Strategies, the Wisconsin Hospital Association, American Family Insurance, Walmart, ARP Wisconsin, and Xcel Energy. So welcome in, UW System President Tommy Thompson. Hello, Governor. How are you?
I'm absolutely fine. I am happy to see you. You look great. You look tan. You look like you've had a good summer. I'm just, I'm a little upset that you're not going to at least buy me lunch for all the work I'm going to be doing, all the questions and all the news I'm going to make, and I don't even get a free lunch out of you. I don't know. That's not the Jeff Mayer I used to know.
All right. Well, I promised to buy you lunch.
You promised 25 years ago, and I'm still waiting, Jeff.
All right, well, let's get right into it. I'm going to ask you some questions, and then we're going to have some audience questions that were submitted in writing.
Good.
So let's go with the news of the week. I never thought I'd have to talk to a former Republican governor about doing battle with a Republican-controlled legislature over rules, but that's what happened this week with the Joint Rules Committee and Steve Noss and Adam Nalem. And so I'm wondering, your response was very pointed. And I'm wondering whether, when it comes right down to it, is it based upon governance, territorial governance for you, or public health?
All the above. And I don't think there's any fight between me and the Republican legislature. I think it's one in which you look at the situation. So let me go through it. Why am I doing what I'm doing? First off, I was asked to be president. It's not something that I set out to become, but I did. I turned it down several times. And so when I came in, I said I'm going to do the best job possible, and I'm going to run the university. When I opened up the university last year, at this time, same type of situation with a pandemic, the first big pandemic. 1/3 of the chances were opposed to me opening up. 1/3 were in favor. 1/3 were both pro and con. And I made the decision. We opened up on September 3rd. We were successful. And the board passed a rule, passed a position that everybody had to be masked up. I supported that. And we went through the whole year, and we had a successful year. The legislature didn't say anything. And that's when the Board of Regents passed the order to have all the campuses masked. This year, I set up a different procedure. The different procedure, Jeff, was first the CDC map had to show that the campus that wanted to mask had to be in the red or orange zone. And all our campuses are in the red zone today. Number two, they had to consult with the public health, the local public health department at the county. They've done that. And they've come back with the conclusion that the best thing to do is to have a mask policy for 30 days on each campus. And so we did that. And I gave that authority to the chancellors to make that decision based upon those number 1, 2, and 3 conditions. And so we did it. Last year we had it, and the legislature let us do it for the full year, and we were successful. Now the campuses are doing it for 30 days, and we're going to open up. Some campuses are opening up next week. Other campuses are going to open up later on in the second week of September. And I want to make sure that the students are protected. And so, number 3, I've set out a position that we're going to go ahead with this. And when the administrative rules made their decision, they didn't ask me. They didn't call me. They didn't ask me to come in and testify. They just passed a mandate that I come in and promulgate a rule. We never discussed it. We never had a public hearing, nothing. And we went the whole year last year without any kind of consternation, any kind of criticism from the legislature. Now it's only for 30 days. And then they tell me, oh, by the way, you promulgate a rule, we're going to vacate it right away. And so what do you want to do? You want me to commit suicide in order to prevent from getting murdered? I don't think so. That's not me. And so I don't want to fight with the legislature. I'm just stating out the facts, why we're doing what we're doing. I want to make sure that people of the state of Wisconsin, why I'm doing it now, is I want to make sure that the confusion out there about this rule is not going to prevent us from opening up our universities. And so we open up our universities. We got them open up. We'll be open up on, I think, 6 campuses next week and the 7 the following week. And so we're opening up schools. I want the faculty to know that we're going to make sure that they're protected. My number one priority is to make sure we open up the universities. We do it in a public health and a safety manner. And I want to ensure the faculty and the employees, and especially the students, are protected health-wise. And so I put on my public health hat, and we're doing that for 30 days. And we're going to judge the facts. We're going to judge, the conditions of our campuses as we go through this first 30 days. So all of those things together. And then finally, under the statute, chapter 36, and under the administrative rules, 1811, the university has the responsibility for handling all of its buildings, all of its institutions, and the safety condition of the faculty, employees, and the students. In order for me to do this, in order for me to have the faculty teach, the instructors teach, and the students attend classes, and as you know, I'm demanding 75% of our classes to be in person, for a better experience for our students, which we've learned is something they want. We're doing that. In order for the faculty to do it, they wanted a mask policy. So in order for the faculty to teach, the students to have in-person classes, masking is a small price to pay in order for everybody to be safe. And that's why I did it. I don't want to fight with the legislature. I'm just stating out the reasons. And I've got statutory, administrative rule, past experience, a whole year when the legislatures didn't do anything last year. And we had then the Board of Regents passed the order. This year, the chancellors have done it. So, and it's only for 30 days. So I think, right now, I just don't want to fight. I just want to open up my campuses. I want the parents to know their students coming to the University of Wisconsin are going to be safe. They're going to be healthy. I want the faculty to teach. I want the faculty to know I'm looking out for them. And I want them, the faculty and the instructors and the employees to know we're going to take care of them. And that's what we're doing. And on top of that, I'm kicking off my competition with all the campuses starting on Tuesday of next week. I'm going to be on Stevens Point's campus. On Wednesday, I'm going to be in La Crosse, and they're encouraging students to get vaccinated. I really believe my 70 by 70 program is going to be very successful. So all of that together points out that your question premised on the fact that I was fighting with Republican legislators is not true. I'm not fighting with them. I'm running the university. I'm opening it up.
All right.
I want to do it in a safe way, Jeff.
All right. Well, maybe they're itching for a fight with you because Steve
could.
Noss, the Senator Steve Noss has said he's going to seek permission to sue the university on this. Doesn't that indicate a looming fight on this?
Well, that's my friend Steve Noss can make that decision, and the leadership can make their decision. I think they're making a big mistake. I think they're going to lose the battle. We got case law going back to 1895 that shows that we have the authority to run our building and, of course, to protect our students and our employees. That's what I'm doing. So I can't imagine a court in the state of Wisconsin going to say, I cannot, as president, protect my students and faculty and make sure that they're done in a safe way. If you carry it to its conclusion, if we have to pass every rule by the legislature, then the legislature is going to run the university. I don't think they want to do that. I think they want me to do it and take all the criticism, which I take. So
Well, right. Plus, there is a board of regents and there's a governance system set up for that, right? So that's part of what you're hinging this on.
System, Chapter 36 in Administrative Rule 1811 is gives us complete authority to do it. We're doing it, and that's why I don't think they want to sue. Why would they want to sue and lose? Then their power is really diminished. So, and why do you want to fight with Tommy Thompson? For God's sakes.
You think they would have learned by now, right? Okay. Yeah. So let me ask you a simple question. You're a former
lose, Jeff. I don't intend to lose.
Okay, you're a former National Health Secretary. And so a simple question. Why not just say, hey, everybody, you got to be vaccinated to go to school or teach?
I do not believe at this point in time we need to mandatory vaccinate. And I've said that from day one. I'm putting on this program, a competitive one, in which we're going out to each one of our campuses. I'm going to be talking to all the students and the faculty and getting 70% of the people vaccinated and hopefully more. And then if we do that, the campus is going to be eligible. In order for the campus to be eligible for one of our 70 scholarships, they got to get 70% of their students vaccinated. And I'm going to help them. We're going to set up vaccination clinics. I'm going to be there. And I think, talking to them as former Secretary of Health in my capacity of running FDA, knowing that this vaccine is one of the safest vaccines we've ever had. I would put this up against the diphtheria and smallpox and the flu, especially the flu. And this is a very safe vaccine. And it works. And it's worked, and it was created in a short period of time, but it was well developed before that, and it was well protected, so that it's gone through all of the task, and everything like this. It's safe, and I know you got vaccinated, Jeff. I know you, and I'll tell you this much. I'm going to ask you a question. When you got vaccinated, and Dave, I see Dave is on there. Didn't you feel really good when you walked out? Didn't you really feel like sort of the weight of that terrible virus was lifted from you? Yes. I felt that way, and I know you did, Jeff. You're smiling, so I know you did. And so my message is, let's go out, instead of mandating, let's go out and educate these students and the faculty and the people of the state of Wisconsin. This vaccine is safe. I know it's safe. I run the FDA. I know what they go through in order to get it approved. And I want to start talking to the people of the state of Wisconsin. Vaccinations are important. We go clear back to smallpox, polio, all of that. None of you out there listening went through the polio things. I'm so darn old that I was there, and we couldn't go swimming. We couldn't do anything growing up because of the polio situation. And
remember Bob Williams from Stevens Point?
Absolutely.
Bob had polio, and Bob was, for our listeners, I helped in the Dreyfus administration, was an advisor and a PR man, and his wife, Mary, was on the Board of Regents at one time. But at any rate, Bob had polio and played a pretty good game of golf, even with polio, but still he was handicapped with that.
He was. His arm was shriveled up because of it. It was a handicap. The polio was stopped with what? A vaccine by SALT. It was stopped cold. And smallpox was stopped because of the vaccine. Let's fight this damnable virus. This is an insidious virus, this COVID-19. Let's fight it, and let's go out and put on our good health hats and go out and get vaccinated and be able to prevent this vaccine from controlling our lives. That's what I want, and that's my message, Jeff. And I want the legislature to know that. I want you to know it. I want you people that are listening, get vaccinated. We need to do it.
Okay, so you want to get back, and you've said this all along. You want to get kids back in classrooms. You want to get the professors talking to the kids in classrooms. And what's your confidence level? I mean, this has been a kind of a rough summer, rougher summer than people anticipated because of the Delta variant. I mean, what's your confidence level going into the school year here?
100%. uh, if you would have asked that question last year at this time, same time, deja vu. You know, I made the decision to open up the universities, and it was not universally accepted on campuses. One, as I said, 1/3 of the chances were opposed to it, 1/3 were favored, 1/3 were mixed. And we opened it up based upon what I said I would do in order to create a healthy environment. We did it. We set up a testing program, as you know, that was adopted by the federal government, and they funded it. And they're still funding it in the state of Wisconsin. And that tells you that how good the program was. And we were able on our campuses, Jeff, to be the safest, the healthiest of any place in the state of Wisconsin. You compare us to the state at large, our positivity rates were at least 1/2 of what it was in the state. So I was able to do it last year. I am confident we're going to be able to do it this year in a safe and healthy way. And I'm really looking forward to the opening of our great universities.
So how do you think the Biden administration is doing against the Delta variant?
I think it's mixed.
What could they be doing better then?
Well, first off, they've got to be out every single day, like publicizing the need to get vaccinated. They need to show, like I just talked about, the smallpox, like polio. They need to show, that we beat these kind of insufferable viruses before. We can do it again, but we also have to look at the public health. Right now, FDA has given Pfizer, is taken away the designation on an experimental use benefit. And let's now go out and resell it all over this country, how to do it. It's important for people to understand this is a safe vaccine. And just like you felt liberated, like I felt liberated, and I can see the way you smile. I know you did. Every single person I talked to, once you've been vaccinated, you feel good. You feel like you've done something to fight back. You're sick and tired of this virus controlling your life. If you are as mad about this virus as I am, then everybody that's listening should go out and get vaccinated. Plus, you get $100 right now. What's wrong with that?
I might get vaccinated 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. If somebody wants to give me $100, I'll get it. No, I won't get vaccinated again unless it's the booster shot. But
let's talk about some other things. I mean, you've had a pretty busy time here as president of the system of the school where you went to law school, and where you cheered on Bucky to the Rose Bowl when nobody believed you, I think. But it's been a really eventful time. Now, another thing that happened was you've been campaigning to repair school buildings. A lot of these buildings were built in the 60s when you were going to school. You had a lot of updates when you were governor, but a lot of these buildings, including Van Heist, where you are now, in need of repair. You got most of the money I think you wanted out of the legislature on that through the governor's budget. But what more needs to be done on the repair front?
Oh, a lot. But you started out saying it's been a very busy year. I have completely come in and absolutely used my business ingenuity and innovation. As you know, I don't believe in status quo. And so I've changed a lot of things. First off, I collapsed a bunch of leases that were all over the city of Madison. We're now got the university system administration down to 3 locations. There were 7 before. That's number one. Number two, every university was buying supplies at their campuses with individual purchase cards. I have now set up a program since April 16th of purchase in bulk, and that is going to save millions of dollars. I think we've gone through $150 million of that. Number 3, we changed the payroll system. We used to have 4 different types of payroll system. Now we're down to 1. We pay everybody every 2 weeks instead of hourly and monthly, saving money. Number 3, we're setting up programs that are going to be expanded in the engineering schools and so on. And you talk about maintenance, we got the humanities building that's falling apart. Van High is a beautiful location, but the building is old and it's falling apart. It's very antiquated. The engineering school, we need to build another engineering school on Madison and Milwaukee campus. We have so many individual opportunities in the state of Wisconsin, Jeff. The engineering school graduates about 3,500 people, engineers. No, about 40,000 engineers a year. And we had about 10,000 job offers. Can you imagine that at the Madison campus? Platteville, Milwaukee, Madison, Green Bay, every one of their engineering schools are filled. And these are the kinds of programs that build Wisconsin. And these are the kind of students that are graduating and are going to stay in Wisconsin for a minimum of 5 years to help build Wisconsin. So we need engineering schools on Madison and Milwaukee. We need to expand it, and we need to expand the one in Platteville. We need the science building in La Crosse, and we got a couple other buildings that's badly needed. But overall, the building program the legislature gave us was fairly good, except for the engineering schools and the science building. And I really think they need to go back and take a look. I really like to have them give us the planning money for the engineering schools. We have such a need in Wisconsin, and these are the people that build. They're the ones that actually go out and build Wisconsin. And so let's help Wisconsin grow. You know me, I'm a Wisconsin booster through and through, and I want Wisconsin to grow and expand. And I need the legislature to give me the planning money for engineering schools in Madison and Milwaukee.
Okay, well, there'll be but I mean, there could be when the legislature comes back in the fall, that might be another opportunity to ask them for money. Is there any initiative underway to ask for these additional funds,
Jeff, how well do you know me? What do you think?
Okay. All right. So something's underway to ask for those things. But, part of this has to be, you have 15 campuses around the state, but you also have the tech colleges, sometimes in the same towns, same communities, and not even that far away from the UW system school.
The share parking lots. Jeff.
So I guess the question is, couldn't the system and the tech college system combine to make sure that these repairs and new buildings were servicing multiple purposes, I guess?
Jeff, you hit on something that is so important. We need a blue ribbon task force on higher education in the state. There's 13 universities instead of 15, as you indicated, but there's 54 vocational universities, 54 sites. There's 26 sites at the university. There's 26 sites at the university, 54 at the vocational school. That's a lot. There's some duplication that could be consolidated. There is no question about that. And we need a blue ribbon committee. We need the legislature and the governor to set up a blue ribbon task force, like the old Kellett reorganization. We have too many buildings, and higher education is changing. We're changing. We found that with distance learning. We found that in the fact that we got so many other states and universities coming in here and competing for our students on distance learning, and we're not measuring up. That's one big failure in the state of Wisconsin, is that they have not given me the dollars to set up a distance learning program to compete with Purdue, Western Governors, Arizona, and Southern New Hampshire, which is spending $100 million. They're in here advertising in Wisconsin. And yet nobody has given me the ability to go out and compete. And you know me, I don't want any state to come into Wisconsin and take anything from us. And so that's a big area. But all of these things are important. The best way to do it is to have a blue ribbon task force set up and study higher education. What do we want to accomplish in higher education? How do we do it more efficiently? How do we make the necessary changes? We have vocational schools and 2-year campuses. side by side. You said that all over the state of Wisconsin. They share parking lots in some places and they share courses. Why don't we take a look at what is smart? You know, I'm not saying that it should be all university. Maybe it should be all vocational. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to make that decision, but I'm telling you, I'm smart enough to know we have duplication and we can make things more efficiently run. And we need a blue ribbon task force to take a look at it, not with any preconceived ideas that it should be all vocational school or all university. Let's combine resources and do what is necessary. Save the taxpayers' money, give students a break. And let's start looking at what the student needs. You know, we've set up these big institutions. We build it for the faculty, for the chancellors, for the president, and for anybody that runs it. Why don't we just take a look? What does a student need in 2021? What is Jeff Mayers going to need, student, in 2025 and 2030? That's where I want to go. I want to go where the puck is going to go. And higher education is changing. I want to make sure that we really start looking what is in the best interest of the students. And the legislature, if they really want to do something, instead of trying to have us pass administrative rules, which doesn't do anything, have them come in and set up a blue ribbon task force with the governor, a bipartisan one, and we will do more for higher education, save more money, and improve the opportunity for our students all over the state. That's what I want. That's what's needed. And nobody seems to have the courage to do it.
Well, one of the things that could also address, I suppose, is student debt, which is massive and holding a lot of people back. The Biden administration seems a little reluctant to wipe away all the debt. I don't know. What's your thoughts on student debt, if this is about the student?
Well, I think we got to take a look at higher education. And we got to find out what is the best way for us to deliver a degree to Jeff Mayers' student. What is the best way for us to do it? And what is the best way for Jeff Mayer to get that education? Is it through vocational school? Is it through apprenticeship? Is it through distance learning? Or is it through coming and sitting in a classroom here in Madison, or Eau Claire, or Platteville, or Parkside, all the beautiful campuses we have? That's what needs to be done. People are reluctant because this is the way it's always been. They're reluctant to change. I'm a change artist. I'm changing everything out here or anything I can change at the university for the better, I think. And that's what we need for higher education. And I keep telling people, we're not good. We just keep doing the same thing and we're going to end up with the same results. More debt, more buildings, more classrooms, more this, more that. And is that the right decision? I don't think it is. I think we need to take a look at it and find out maybe in Timbuktu, the vocational schools, that should be the university for vocational school. Maybe at XYZ, that's for the University of Wisconsin. But it needs a dispassionate, independent view from a bipartisan committee to do it, Jeff. And everybody seems to be reluctant to do it because it's controversial. Well, so be it. Mm-hmm. It's time for us to be controversial and start taking a look. What is in the best interest of the student?
Okay, now the tuition freeze was put on. Let's see. The legislature didn't like the university having a lot of money on hand, and so the tuition freeze came, and in a way that benefited a lot of students and families. But now that's off. So do students and families now have to worry about tuition going out of sight?
Not while I'm president, but I don't know how long that is. But I don't think this Board of Regent is very interested in raising tuition. We're given the opportunity to do so, but nobody from the Board of Regents, nobody from, oh, that's not true. Some campuses have asked me to put in an increase, but I don't see any increase coming this particular year on the tuition, Jeff. I think we've survived. We're doing well. A lot depends upon the enrollment this year. But overall, I'm a conservative, and I'm saving money at the university. And I'm going to keep doing that as long as I'm president. And I think we're moving in the right direction nicely at the University of Wisconsin. And I think that we're going to have the same tuition this coming year as we do today.
So you mentioned enrollments there. There is enrollments in K through 12 schools has been down during the pandemic. There was some decline in enrollments at the public universities too. Have you seen an uptick, and what's your hope for the future? Because there is sort of that was a demographic bubble that went through in terms of enrollments, and now maybe there won't be as many people of college age.
That's possible, and we're looking at that. I can tell you that our freshman enrollment is good. Our freshman enrollment is good. Our graduate enrollment is good. Where we're having problems, Jeff, is in our freshman to sophomore to junior. And I think there are two reasons for that. I'm sending out a letter to all individuals that were in college and are not returning. I personally am doing that. But what's the problem, I think, is that students came to college with a preconceived idea of having a good time and socializing. Let's face it, that's a good part of college.
Yeah.
And being able to meet people. This past year has been tough. And we've had a lot more individuals with mental health problems, behavioral problems, and so on. And what has happened is that students say, why do I want to go back to that? I didn't have any fun. We had to wear a mask. We had to be tested, all this kind of stuff. So the returning students are down. And I can't tell you exactly how many, but this is a clarion call throughout all of the universities that we're having a reduction in returning students in the sophomore and junior year. And I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to get it turned around before it starts, but we're getting close to the end. We're picking up every single day, and all the chancellors are working extremely hard, the enrollment people, to do it. But that's where our problem is. And so, if you leave, there's three things that are bothering me right now. It's that they did not have as good experiences last year because of the pandemic. Nothing I can do about that. Number two, the economics, the job market is so good that you can drop out of school for a semester and get a good paying job. So economic, that's another reason. And the third one is more and more people across this country are saying you don't need to go to college, which goes back to my other point that we need to have a blue ribbon task force to study what should a higher education be all about. That's what's so important about it. And so I really believe, and I know you do, and I believe most of your listeners do out there, college education is important. You take a look at the future, and you take a look at all the people. We had a poll done, and the University of Wisconsin rated extremely high as far as individual people that have graduated, satisfied with their degrees and their education, higher than most universities. I think that's true because we got a great university system, one of the finest in the country, if not the finest. And I mean that sincerely. We have great people, great institutions, and we can make it greater than we have to. But all of those things together, and I don't leave any group without telling them, don't forget, send your sons and daughters to the best university in the country and get the best education, and you will have an opportunity to do well in life. That's got to be a clarion call across the state.
Right. There's also been a recent study about that, there's a big gap in terms of families who don't have high incomes, and also for people of color being, that there's a lack of recruitment of these, that there has to be active recruitment of these individuals, of these high, when they're in high school. Go to them in high school and talk to them about how college is going to work for them. And I think UW, the system has been proactive in that and making college more affordable too.
We have it. And let me tell you a couple of programs I've started, Jeff. I've set up programs in 5 universities in which we're hiring individuals. We call them mentors. They're going into university, high schools, not only in Wisconsin, but in Illinois, recruiting minority students and students of color, and also first generation family members to come and join the university system. We're doing that. We're getting them in high school, telling them that they got to get prepared for college. And so we're doing that. It's a program that I started, and it's receiving tremendous support. I've done it in 5 campuses. Now all the campuses want to do it. They think it's worthwhile. Secondly, we reduced the travel, the subscription, and the employment at the University of Wisconsin system. And I took $1 million of my savings and set up the Region's Opportunity Scholarship for low income and students of color. And we had 279 scholarships. A new program that I set up. I'm always out there looking for new ideas. So I got a monitoring program and a new Region's Opportunity Scholarship program, and to get students of color and also first generation families to send their students to our campus. And third, I set up a bridge program this summer because I knew the high school seniors had a tough time last year. I had a granddaughter. She did well, but they just didn't get the same high school that you and I got. Let's face it, or any of your listeners. And they didn't get to play sports. They didn't get drama, band, the whole thing. And they're coming to college less prepared than other students might have been in previous years. And so I set up the bridge program, and I think we had, I can't remember how many thousands of students from high school come and visit our campus. And we also help with remedial courses in English and writing and so on. And that worked out very well. So what you're talking about are things that we have to do. And I've got 3 initiatives already going in this area. And we have to do more in order to get all individuals that need a college education the opportunity to come into our colleges. We got to make it affordable and accessible. And once they're here, especially students of color, we've got to be able to make sure they're integrated in and assimilated into the society, and that we take care of them and monitor them to make sure they stay in and get the kind of support to stay in our universities. We have had problems with doing a good job of getting them here the first year and then dropping out the second year because we didn't do enough for them while they were here. We got programs set up right now to do a better job in that area. And I hope that we're going to be able to expand these ideas after I leave. I'm an idea man, and I'm throwing them out there. The Board of Regents just shakes their head, because every day I've got ideas that we can improve the system. I intend to do that, but it really needs a blue ribbon task force to study it.
Okay, now some questions from the audience here that I'm going to paraphrase, audience members, and I probably can't get to them all. But there's a lot of people are asking for clarification on masking at the campuses. One person attending says, in theory, you could issue a mask mandate for system schools. So will you do that, and why or why not?
No, I answer that, your first question, Jeff, answered it quite completely. The reason we set it up, we said three requirements. Number one, I left it up to the chancellors today their campus had to be in a red or orange zone put out by CDC. And number two, they had to consult with their local health department about what was necessary, what was their suggestion, what was their advice. And number three, the chancellors had to talk to the people on their campus. Once they go through those three things, then the chancellor makes the decision on the masking policy. And I asked the chancellors, because this virus is changing and we don't know what's going to take place, to have those orders for masking for 30 days. And that's all they've done. So all the masking policies are now for 30 days.
So every campus is going to have a masking policy for 30 days.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. That just a matter of clarification then. Here's one. This isn't all up to you, but why does UW Milwaukee often not get its fair share of funding from the state, both operating funds and capital budget?
That goes way back. It's a research institution, and when you compare it to Madison, the percentage that they get from the system is not the same percentage. But also, big difference is Madison has the hospital system that they run and different. Milwaukee doesn't have that. That's more expensive. And so my predecessors, the Board of Regents, have taken a look at that and says it costs more to operate the Madison campus than the Milwaukee campuses. And so therefore, they made that decision early on. And people are asking me to change it. I said, you cannot change the reimbursements to campuses now when there's no extra money. We're going through that. I mean, that would not be fair. I said, I think that if the legislature gives extra money, then I think we should take a look at the distribution percentages and how we could do it to be more equitable. I would love to do that, but you can't take away from Madison and give to Milwaukee just because they're different and they have different responsibility, different schools. And the university hospital, the medical school is much more expensive to operate than other departments. And so that's why it's set up.
Yeah, you're saying it's a historical thing, but there's also some numbers behind it there.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's important to stress that UW Milwaukee is also a research institution.
We got two researchers, and I think Milwaukee deserves money. I really do. Milwaukee's up, and it's in our largest city, and it has students that may not be as well prepared as maybe students going to Madison. And so there needs more money. There's no question about it. But when you have set up the formula drives the distribution of the money. If you set up that formula, it's hard to go in and take away money from an institution that has had it, and this is a percentage, and change it now when there's no extra money. You just take it, Madison has got their budget. Milwaukee has their budget. I think Milwaukee deserves more money. I think Whitewater does.
Okay, but there's still surplus money in the state account.
Yeah, there is, but not at the university. I don't have, I have only the amount of money I can send out to the formula is the money I get. And we didn't get any extra money here at the center at the president's office. We got the same amount.
Right, but the legislature, again, if you're asking the legislature for more building money, I guess you could also ask the legislature for more money for Milwaukee and Whitewater too.
Yeah, did. I didn't get it.
Yes. So, okay, there's some political questions here. I'll ask them, and I guess you can choose to. There are a lot about the Republican Party. Here's one, I guess, that's typical. Are there two Republican parties, and how do you get back to one?
Oh, no, I don't think there's two Republican parties. I think there's no question that there's no unanimity in any political party. I mean, there's Republican Party's philosophy is something that I support. But I don't agree. I don't agree with on the administrative rules. Does that make me less of a Republican? No. Does that make Steve Nass less of a Republican because he believes in it? No. And but on most subjects, I think we could reach an agreement on. But I think the party is more conservative than when I was governor. I don't think there's any question about that. I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent, but that's the way it is. I think the Democratic Party is more liberal than what it was, and when I was a governor of the state of Wisconsin for 14 years. So parties have changed; they've evolved. There's a more difference than the way it was 20 some years ago when I was in control of the governorship.
Okay, so I'm going to ask some more questions to close it out here, Governor. So there's a presidential search on now. A presidential search committee has been formed. And I guess the question is, I get a lot of this, well, why don't they just ask Tommy Thompson to stay for another year or another 2 years? Or is Tommy Thompson going to be one of the people that the search committee looks at? But do you know any of the answers to those questions?
Absolutely not.
So you don't know what your future is as assistant president?
No. I mean, I came in to do a job, and I think I've done a hell of a job. I think most people recognize the fact. It's just not something that I sought. But the university system was in trouble when I took over, and Drew Peterson came in and said, I need a strong leader that's willing to make a decision. I would only tell whoever is going to pick my replacement, bring somebody in that's a change artist. Bring somebody in that's willing to stand up and make tough decisions. This university needs a president that's not afraid, is willing to stand up and make decisions for the betterment of the whole university system instead of cow-tolling and not being able to so afraid of making a decision, whether it be the legislature or the chancellors. We have a sort of a confederation. There are 13 chancellors, and all of them think they're smarter than the president. They probably are. But somebody's got to make the decisions. And I have found that there has been a lack of decision making. I think Ray Cross was a great president. Don't get me wrong, but I think he came from the inside, and he was restricted by the chancellors as how far he could go. He had great ideas, but he was restricted. I think you got to have somebody, that doesn't care. Somebody like me that is not afraid to make a decision. And if they fire me, they fire me. I'll go back to my farm. I have a beautiful farm. I love it, and I got plenty of work there. And I'm approaching 80, so they can hire somebody younger, but somebody's got to have the ability to stand up and lead this university with changes and ideas to make things happen. And that's going to be the charge of people to find a replacement president.
So there was somebody joked to me the other day that this was the most successful failed presidential search in UW history.
Well, I would have to agree with that.
So do you see a scenario in which you could continue to be the president? Could the search committee solicit your application and pick you?
I don't think that's in the cards, Jeff.
So your tenure at the as UW system president will be half a year, or 6 months, or just months, or what's your anticipation?
Months.
So
maybe 6 months from now.
Okay, so let's say you got 6 months. I mean, what do you really want to do here in this last 6 months as assistant president? I mean, you've had an incredible political career. You were national health secretary, and now you're the assistant president. What do you want to do in the next 6 months then?
Jeff, what I want to do is I want to completely transform the financial system and the human resource system at the University of Wisconsin. And we're in the process of that. It's the biggest transformation of the university system. We have the most archaic computer system and communication system in the world. That's not true. That's an overstatement, but it is bad. We're very little in the cloud. We have servers all over Kingdom Come. It's an archaic system. I want to lead the university, and I've done it by having a single payroll, single purchasing. Now I'm working on changing, completely transforming the computer and the financial system on all of our campuses. It's going to last longer than I do, but if I can set it in place, and if I can get it started, it's got a good way to go. And then we will be able to run this university in a modern way. This is a huge corporation, 40,000 employees, 170,000 students almost, and a $6 billion operation. And we give back $24 billion to the state of Wisconsin, or 24 for one that the state gives us. You know, we need to be modern. We need to have the most modern ability, computer system, and a financial system to run a business of this size, and we don't have it. It's archaic. It's obsolete. It's decrepit. Nobody can even understand it. You can't figure out things, and that needs to be done. I'm working on it, and if I get a chance, you know, these are the big things I want to get done, and I would like to get the engineering schools on Madison and Milwaukee at the Science Building and Lacrosse. If I could get those three buildings going, I would really be happy.
You also wanted to get lending authority, the university to have lending authority, but that didn't get through the budget. But
I also want to be able to set up an extended campus so that we are able to give corresponding courses and be able to give degrees out, you know, and be able to compete against other states. We are behind. And why does Wisconsin, the amount of money that we spend in this university system, behind in anything? And that's where we need to be able to have distance learning, and it has to come now, or else we're going to get so far behind we'll never get back in the ballgame.
okay, maybe this can all be part of the Blue Ribbon Commission you're touting here today. So do you have anything to add, Governor? It's been a pleasure having you, but I think our time is running out.
Well, no, I guess I did a lot of talking. I'm sure all the people writing me letters now disagreeing with me, but or agreeing with me. But that's the way life is. I'm not afraid to make decisions. I'm not afraid to lead, and that's what the university needed when they asked me to come in, and that's what I intend to do until the day I walk out of here.
All right, well, that's all for me, and I wish you a successful school year and the rest of your tenure. Thanks very much for joining us. Always a pleasure to talk to you, and I owe you lunch. You get to name this. You get to name the spot.
All right, thank you.
All right, everybody. That's it for today. We have several programs coming up. If you want to sign up. We have September 8th. We have two ex-ambassadors, Mark Green and Tom Loftus, to talk about how good diplomacy helps trade policy. That'll be on September 8th. That's part of our trade policy initiative that's sponsored by the Wisconsin District Export Council and Michael Best Strategies. And then we have on September 14th, we have a special rural prosperity program. You can find out about that. That's going to be in Lacrosse and virtually. You can find out about that at wispolitics.com. Now, I want to thank our sponsors for the Madison Club Series that helped bring Governor Thompson, UW President Thompson here today. Hush Blackwell Strategies, XL Energy, ARP Wisconsin, American Family Insurance, Walmart, and the Wisconsin Hospital Association. This is Jeff Maris from wispolitics.com signing off, and we'll see you next time.